My name is Gita Karasov, and I am an alum and current director of admissions at Hebrew College. During this season of Teshuvah, I often find myself mulling over interpersonal interactions from the past year. I often resurface all of my least proud moments, ranging from discussions at a Shabbat dinner table or arguments at a family seder, and I make my best effort to repair any damage done. And I can't help but notice how different that feels this year, this Elul. With seders, trips, reunions, weddings, and so much more canceled over the past 6 months, I've simply had fewer interactions with the people in my life. This year, rather than thinking about all the conversations that I had for which I need to do tshuva, I'm actually thinking about all of the missed connections and the missed opportunities for which I need to do tshuva this year. And that actually feels a little bit harder. So I want to share a paradigm that I am finding helpful for this work this year. These 40 days of tshuva between Rosh Chodesh Elul and Yom Kippur function as a container in time. We're given this discrete amount of time on our calendar to transition ourselves from who we were this past year to who we hope to show up as in the coming year. This container of 40 days can also be seen as a mikvah in time. The mikvah, a gathering of living waters, is a sacred container in which we ritually mark transitions in our lives. This number 40 is significant to transitions in Jewish tradition and is also the number used to describe the measurement of the minimum amount of water in a mikvah, 40 se'ah of water. But what can this mikvah in time, this transition container of 40 days, teach us about tshuva this year, specifically during a time where there's no end in sight to the isolation that so many of us feel? Aside from being a ritual bath, God is referred to as Mikvah Yisrael by Jeremiah the prophet. During a time of extreme distance and pain between God and the Jewish people, Jeremiah pleads to God saying, Mikveh Yisrael Moshio be'et tzara, lama tiyeh kager. God, you are the mikvah of Israel who saves her in times of trouble. Why are you being like a stranger? In this verse, Jeremiah is juxtaposing God as mikvah, a play on the Hebrew word for hope, with God as stranger. And according to Jeremiah, it is the mikvah of Israel who saves the Israelites in times of trouble. Rabbi Nachman expounds on this verse to say that the mikvah itself is what saves us in times of trouble. Mikvah representing a complete intimacy with God, and the opposite of it being total estrangement. These past 6 months have unfortunately made feeling estranged from others feel far too normal. With so many barriers to connection, our circles have gotten smaller, and the relationships we used to nurture on a regular basis have likely changed. Between the physical distancing, the masks, the virtual communication, we're all experiencing increased feelings of isolation as we encounter more resistance in forging and maintaining relationships. And this fatigue and stress can inevitably limit the energy we even have to reach out to other people. And so our relationships suffer. If a mikvah is the opposite of estrangement, then this 40-day mikvah in time must represent a time for intimacy and reconnection. The mikvah embraces our bodies as we immerse totally stripped of that which usually separates us from the rest of the world. Our sages teach us that while one is immersed in the waters of the mikvah, there should be nothing intervening between the flesh of one's body and the water. Our skin needs to kiss the water as we dip out of the world of boundaries and into the embrace of infinite possibility. Perhaps now, during this Elul, where our connections with others are characterized by extreme boundaries and guardedness, we need to try more than ever to make this time into a mikvah. Rather than viewing the social distancing guidelines as an excuse to become estranged from one another, what if we saw them as a starting point from which we can insist on creating and maintaining safe human connection that transcends physical distance? Just like the mikvah requires us to strip away those extra layers of distance between us and the living waters, We need to rid ourselves of the assumptions and modes of connection we knew in the past and be a bit more like the water, permeating the openings it's given to make its presence felt and embrace felt. On this day of Elul, I invite you to think with me about the Teshuvah of missed connections. How can we get creative in establishing renewed, safe, and close relationships with others despite the physical limitations? Just as the waters of the mikveh take a strong and unobstructed hold on us in times of transition and pain, may we reach inside ourselves and find the strength to hold on to one another as we tread through these challenging times.